too many funerals where a man has opted to be macho rather than consider the family ties and is no longer around because they followed their impulses. 21st century is a really hard and big question for me to answer because you're bombarded with so many visual things, and I say that because um, in many books that talk about dads and men in general, the first thing they always specify is that men are always more visual, even though the woman is visually involved. We're visually stimulated. And with that being said, I'm not skirting the issue of the question. It's just important that you always put your own self in check. It's easier to put your own self in check for all the right reasons. It's terrible to have someone else uh, have to correct you, but that's another place I'm going to park there for about 30 seconds because I know from experience that one of the greatest hindrances to a man is when you do not accept correction.
Mm.
So even though I said it's good to self-check, even if you don't like the person who's telling you that you're doing something wrong, you should always leave one valve open so that you can bring in that information. Too many guys in prison, their only problem was that they didn't accept someone's advice. And it was their kids, it was their life, it was their destiny. And because the person wasn't on the level they were, above or below, and they told them that X was Y and you thought Y was X and you decided you were going to do it, and they're in there doing long stretches. The penal system does not discriminate. Long stretches. Scooter was very amicable in regards of her oldest brother from my 9-month marriage. He's doing 15 years to life for one moment of stupidity. Still my son, love him to death.
Still my brother.
Well said. But he is somewhere that he did not even envision that he would be at the age of
19, 18.
19. And it was drugs.
Yep.
And I'm still staying on point whenever my daughter intervenes about men in the 21st century. You have to know what you can handle, and you have to stay away from what you can't. And with that being said, all us men always want to be the last one to throw the rock through the window. We always want to be the last one to be seen taking the air out of the tire because we're macho, and that's in our DNA.
Nowadays, they don't even want to be seen doing that.
Oh, Lord.
They ain't taking no air out of no tire. They don't know how to change the tire. There's not enough men.
Oh, Lord.
Or I don't want to say there's not enough men, but there's so many absentee men that these young men don't know how to do basic things. And I don't want to say,
Wow.
I believe in roles, right? I believe in roles because I only know roles. And I say that all the time. Mom, there are roles in our house. There always have been. So I don't know anything other than that. I have an expectation of roles, but nowadays, if I don't date a man who comes from a dual parent household, oftentimes they can't relate to me because I only relate to roles, and then they don't understand what it's like to, I hate to say it this way, but they don't know what a man's role is. I won't say what it is to be a man because now that definition is a little loose. But what I will say is they don't understand traditional roles in a household. So they don't know how to change the oil. They don't, and
I expect all you real men to be Facebooking my daughter right now and letting her know that some of you are still out there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
but even I'm under the persuasion that even if you can't change the oil, know how to negotiate to get the oil changed. Like
I receive that.
If you can't change a tire,
I receive
know
that.
how to, get around to getting the tire changed. It still should not be my responsibility. And I, I'm just talking about traditional roles. So nowadays, whereas I come from a household where my dad was the provider, period. And I say this often. My dad if our power was ever out, hell, I don't know. Mom and dad had that covered. You know what I mean? We never went without food. All of us had our own cars. There's just different things that, although you were absent, we never went without.
Well, and let me just segue just a little bit. I like what you triggered in me. This is a free for all, y'all. This is with my daughter. But that's another man point that it took me years, daughter. There were times when I was out of work, I drove your mama's car. I used her food stamps. And that's another growth issue. Looking back, I can share that. And these aren't just guess nuggets. These are life experience, resume documented, authenticated, certified nuggets of how you can pull it off. Because I'm sure I could have changed a lot of things by saying thank you. But brought up in a macho house, mom, I just would take the car, drive the car. She got it through her credit union, I believe she did. And men, sometimes we don't take. It's the small things that make a difference. I didn't mean to stop you there, but
go ahead.
You made me another confession that nowadays men, I guess, in addition to what you're talking about, they don't know how to say thank you, thinking it's going to like lower them down on the man scale or something. I don't know.
Yep. It's funny because although men have become a lot more emotional, which I'm not a fan of, and I call it the Oprah Winfrey age, they have
really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. We're the era of Oprah. Our men are the men of the era of Oprah. And Oprah decided that it was important that everybody should be in touch with their feelings.
Oh, okay.
And so people began to, these women, these housewives. So I believe this, right? There is women's lib, the first wave, women's lib, the second wave, and then women's era of Oprah. That's kind of how I see the whole like women's cycle. And what happened was, Oprah started telling women, these women were watching TV, right? And Oprah shows up. And she starts giving them what they want to hear. She starts telling them, you should be empowered and it's okay. Love yourself. Be happy. She started doing that. And then she started having these people on the show talking about your husband should come home and he should be able to cry with you and he should be able to feel. And so what happened is these women began to impress upon their men that Oprah said you should feel, right? So what happened was the next generation, because Oprah really is, I'm 40, so Oprah really is not my generation, it's the generation above me. So that generation, baby boomers is what it is. So the baby boomers began to raise young men that should feel.
I still love you, Oprah, if you want to send any money to me.
I love
because
Oprah.
My dad was born in Kosciuszko, Mississippi with you. And if you have any money left over for the Goins family, Facebook me.
I love Oprah because of the advances that she's made for women.
Right.
Abroad, right? Not just black women, but women abroad. So I love Oprah. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is influence is very powerful. And when I talk about influence, when I relate my influence, because I'm not Oprah yet, right? But when I relate my influence, I relate it in that area of understanding that she influenced a generation of women and men. And this is the influence of her. Because they weren't talking about that. No one nowhere was talking about that. Now, believe me, I was in school when Oprah was on. So this isn't even a matter of, me sitting down watching Oprah and knowing this is going on. because I never really was an Oprah fan. And oh my gosh, black women all over the world just cringed. But the reason why is because I would listen to her and I would say, I don't believe in none of that. And I didn't believe in it because it wasn't relevant in my home. It wasn't relevant with my mom and my dad, the conversations that she was having. So I didn't believe in it. Fast forward, 15 years later, and she's shifting gears herself. Do you see what I mean? So she realizes that she was very powerful in her influence, and she got paid. High five.
She got paid.
And so now she's in a space, and you see the stuff that she's putting out. She's evolved. So influence is powerful. And I said that to say, being a provider and being the head of the house and being strong and being the rock, that is what the man is supposed to be. Women aren't equipped to be that. We've embraced it as what we've had to be, but we're not equipped
I receive that.
to be that, right? So the whole balance of the world is off because women think they have to be men. And I don't understand why we can't just be women and do something. Why we got to be
You're not Caitlyn Jenner me right now, are you?
No. What I'm saying is, here's what I'm saying.
Yeah, explain to Papa.
If there's a place, so Father's Day, the reason why Father's Day is important is because if a woman celebrates the man, what it will do is it will automatically remind her of her femininity. If you've taken the space
That's interesting.
to celebrate what the contribution of a man is in your life and him as a father or him as a mentor and him as a leader, it automatically has you in a space where you embrace your femininity and the knowledge of understanding that you are woman, you are mother, you are the nurturer. That's why I believe Father's Day is important, is because it reminds us that we aren't the man, that there is a space for that masculine energy. And then the masculine energy needs to be that's there. That's why I guess I'm really like harping on Father's Day. It's because being able to celebrate a man reminds me that I'm the woman and I don't have to be the man. And so.
But you're also talking about one that I just briefly touched on. You notice that my daughter is very eloquent in speech, and I'd rather listen than speak.
Rolando says that all the time.
But bombarded is another buzz that you said that I just very, very lightly touched on. Being bombarded now is amazing. And you really, in my opinion, being around for 63 years, I think that you have to have a hold of yourself. You got to have some core and know who you are.
Yes.
Because you'll spin the gamut and still come back lost.
Yes.
You'll go to the pinnacle of the castle, to the dungeon, and if you don't have at least an inkling of who you are, you'll be lost. I mean, this is information world. Look at who'd ever thunk I'd sit in a place with two mics without booms and cameras that I grew up on and $24,000 lift trucks and still be able to reach that. There's no concept. And literally by each person contributing, this show could literally spin from Las Vegas to Africa, to China, to Malay, who'd ever, the concept. And they make fun of my grandmother, but when I would love to go take my cell phone to her because she'd say, this thing is talking without no wires. and see they laugh, but I would just sit and I would just beam because I'm going, I get that because I'm right at the cup. So baby, and I get that. I had the phone plugged into the wall. And so being bombarded is really one of the things that you I love how you brought that out. I think that's the biggest issue, is to know yourself, to your own self, be true. I'm not trying to take Shakespeare's place here, but you got to know who you are. And and I don't know if my daughter agreed with this, but if you don't know who you are, she says roles. I think you ought to role play. You need to find out who you are. And there's no law that says if the role you're playing don't work,
change it.
Bingo.
Absolutely.
And we get caught and stuck on stupid, and we're afraid to change.
That's right. I agree, because I that's why I brought up Uncle Frank, is because I had tried on a role, and he had the wisdom enough to say that's not the role for you. You need to try a different role. But we get so, as you said, we get so caught up in trying to be, just period. There's, society has made it that the pursuit of happiness is money and, as you said before, materialistic things. And the man nowadays, his pursuit of money is unrealistic because of what he's being fed. We always see it as women are being fed images of beauty that aren't real, but men are being fed images of success that isn't real. And because of that, they're pursuing that image. And they, when they get into that pursuit, it's difficult because they can't figure out how come they can't reach it. But that pursuit is society's way of saying you should be there. And so I think that is one of the largest issues, in the world. And I was saying this the other day. I was like, we have to stop getting involved in because there are powers that be that are holding the media together, right?
You think?
But people don't know. Like, they know it, but they just don't believe it. They don't believe it. And so society has painted an image where they don't want the man to have precedence in the home, right? Because as long as there's no men in the home, then the state, because the nation is still being ran by men. And as long as there's no men in the home, then they can control the home, because it is our innate mindset to be led by men.
That's pretty heavy right there.
So what happens is, when we don't embrace the man in our home or celebrate the man in our home, we don't allow ourselves to be feminine, then what we've done is we've given in to society. And I hate to do the whole conspiracy theory, right? Because I know people are like, that's not real, but it's real.
I like where you're going, but even then, I'm gonna bring y'all back to some more easier ground to stand on.
My shows are pretty deep usually. I try not to do that, but
well, you got to do what's in you, girlfriend. And while I'm saying that, I want everybody to make sure you support the Las Vegas Tribune, because they had enough courage to allow my daughter to say things that most people don't say, and I approve this message. With that being said, though, Scooter, with the men thing, there's something else that I feel is important to throw out there, and you can cut that off. I think that men need to, it's a colloquialism cliche, but they need to man up as far as when it comes to relationships with women.
Yes.
Her mom, my wife, my girlfriend, is a very challenging, dynamic, assertive personality to live with. And with that being said, I don't think, I know without a shadow of a doubt that Jolette would not appreciate if I walked around with an apron crying all the time when she brought up her worldviews and opinions.
Right.
And if I never ever said anything to macho men who I am part of, wear my shirt and my t-shirt proudly, is that you must stand strong, but you don't have to stand stupid. And realize that some things that women are gonna say ain't gonna make no sense at all. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean they're less smarter. That doesn't mean it's not valid, because our role is to be there. People are trying out relationships, and I know that's a whole nother story and a whole nother show for my daughter. They're trying out relationships, and if it was working, I would buy into it. But I haven't seen any stats, daughter, that support people not going through that are better than those who have weathered the storm.
No, people, we have that quitter syndrome
That's
in
a
life.
good one.
In life.
Oh, wow.
You know, in life.
Oh,
So
wow.
relationships are no different. But, you know, watching you and mom weather the storm, or what they say, stick to itness.
Right.
You know, because right now you guys are having, it's empty nest syndrome for you guys. So, you know, it's
kind of, you got all your nephews and stuff coming to
that's
the
still
house.
empty nest though.
Okay.
Because you guys, once they gone, you're home. But weathering the storm, you know, people would say is not as easy anymore. But mostly it's because we're not. We have been taught that we don't have to compromise.
Yes.
You know, we've been taught that happiness is a feeling, and if it don't feel good, then you don't have to do it. And you
That's
know,
good.
and I'm not under that impression. And oftentimes when you get with men, you know, not getting into dating, just still talking about fatherhood.
Right.
But oftentimes when you get with men and they're caught up in their feelings, it's an unusual circumstance, because it's not that I don't want you to feel.
I understand.
It's just that both of us can't be feeling. You know what I mean? We both can't be in our feelings. That's just, that don't make any sense.
Right.
But you know, you find with the Obama now, you know, let's come out of the Oprah, and now we're going into the Obama era, right?
Oh, Lord.
And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring in fatherhood, is because with the Obama era, you see a lot more men stepping up and being fathers.
Okay.
Fighting for their children, and you know, demanding that they be a part of their children.
Okay.
And that absolutely is an Obama era, because it wasn't, you know, absentee father was a fad. You know, it was, you know, having a bunch of kids by, you know, a bunch of different women was a fad. But as you look, we're in a society now where these men those absent fathers are coming back and reclaiming their children. And I really do believe it's the image that Obama has with Malaya and Sasha. He's been very firm in trying to be a full-time father as well as a president. Who in the hell knows how he's pulling that off? But, you know, he's done it. And so I think a lot of men realize, you know, I can have that Michelle Obama and, you know, Michelle and Barack Obama lifestyle, and I don't have to compromise. So the image of success is, you know, has changed a little bit for Black men.
Can you even
Rolando, you texted me.
even with what you said, I think your mom pointed out to me that someone, talking to fathers, was upset that Stephen Curry, which I don't like, from the Warriors, because I'm a Cavalier fan, because I was born in Detroit.
Way up, I feel blessed.
They had an issue with him bringing his
Riley.
Is that her name? I'm going like, oh my God. I mean, I wish I was that young and had been that forthcoming as a father.
Well, you
and
did.
A parent. What the TV? I mean.
Yeah, but you still did it in life. Like as a father, I don't remember, and I've said this a few times, but as a father, I mean, as a daughter to, you know, a community father, I don't remember many times where you didn't say, Scooter, come on, or tell my mama, get the kids ready, they gonna sing. You know, we hated it.
She did too.
We hated it.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, you were in that light, and you never neglected to bring us or shout us out, or, you know, have us be on the mic. One of the reasons why I am as diverse in my conversation is because my dad challenges us in, you know, our wit, you know, challenges us in the word. He's challenged us, but he's also held us accountable to be speakers, to be comfortable in front of audiences, and to not cower it down and take the mic when all possible. But a lot of families don't have that opportunity. So where Curry had done that with Riley, she's never going to be afraid of the camera.
Oh, yes.
Because she, you know, that is, she'll always have that space where she'll say, been there, done that. That won't be a fear for her. So for most of my friends, they're afraid to speak in front of the audiences and crowds, right? I run to the mic. I'm not afraid. I'm afraid, well, you know, I have a phobia of being in crowds.
We got that.
But I don't have I'm very confident in taking the mic and talking. So oftentimes
yes, she is.
Oftentimes I won't take the mic because I know I'm aware of my confidence. So I don't practice false humility, but I do practice humility because I know how comfortable I am in that place, and I'm waiting for my chance. You know, I don't have to steal a chance. I'm waiting for my chance. So, but you did do that. And I see many preachers, you know, I'm going to shout out to Uncle Bill, but Ebenezer Church of God in Christ, but he's done that with his children, you know, and a lot of pastors, that is what they do. But what they don't tell their children is what you did for us. I often see that these pastors or these ministers, they don't tell their children when they're bringing them in the limelight that church is not your withal. You know, you don't have your whole livelihood, and what you've learned here is just for church. My dad didn't teach us that. My dad said these are skills. Use the church when we had to do things in the church, because we're Levites, so we all work in church.
Well, that's a whole nother series.
Yeah, but we're all but it's great. I'm glad. I didn't like it, but I'm glad now. So when you're a Levite, that's not just, those skill sets are not just for the church.
Oh, absolutely.
But what happens is these ministers and these pastors, they don't teach their children that they're not just for the church. So they don't know how to be diverse. Do you know what I mean? So, hey, Ramon, come on. Ramon. This is my daddy.
You gonna take credit for that?
Absolutely.
How you doing?
If you're gonna take credit for your newspaper, I'm gonna take credit.
All right.
I'm gonna take credit for my baby girl.
Okay.
Ramon Savoy just walked into the room.
He's been around. He's a man about town.
Yeah, this is my daddy. This is Ramon's peanut butter thing.
I can't be my peanut butter thing because I'm on my fast.
Oh yeah, it's Ramadan. So, Mr. Ramon Savoy, Sindel Voice, just walked into the room as I was talking to my father, and we don't want to. There's a mic right there. Hand Ramon the mic.
Thank you. Happy Father's Day.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, I have 3 boys.
Do you?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
My oldest can date you.
Oh, really?
We'll discuss that later.
Put it in negotiations.
There you
So
go.
we were talking a little bit about Father's Day and more about men, and I brought my daddy in because I said in the previous show, I think it's very important that we celebrate men, and the more we celebrate men, the more women will be able to embrace their femininity. And one of the things that I was kind of annoyed about is how the media doesn't play up Father's Day as much as they do Mother's Day. So it's almost like passing. And so, you know, we're in a generation now where as women, we think we can embrace all roles. And so I wanted to kind of put us in a position where we're celebrating our men. And I challenged the audience, actually, all week I've been challenging my audience. If you're a single mother, you need to find a man that you can celebrate for Father's Day. That has been my challenge.
As a friendship, not to get in a relationship.
No, just find a man your children can celebrate, a mentor, something.
Pastor or something.
Yes,
okay.
Because if your children, if Father's Day come and your children are celebrating you for Father's Day, shame on you, because why isn't there any men in their life that they can celebrate? Because that role has to still be filled. And so we've been talking a little bit about that. What do you think about that?
Well, I think when you're talking about the position of a father and the role that he has to play, I don't know if a step-in kind of situation helps, because you're just throwing them into an environment that they're not familiar with, the child as well as the gentleman. Now, if it's Uncle Jim, well, no, let me take away that uncle thing, because some women bring in Uncle James, Uncle Bob, and the rest of them. So, yes. So let it be more or less somebody that's in your family that they can be attracted to and accept. And the other thing, I believe, when you're looking at fathers and the role that we play as fathers, and how come we might not get as much credit as mothers, because there's more of a connection with a mother than with a father, because the mother birth, women have that they have the advantage. Because you look at some situations that always upsets me when there's a crime or something other, where there's a father and a mother, and it doesn't say their kid, their children. It always says the mother, the mother's child. And I'm like, wait a minute. what happened to the father? He was standing right there. All of a sudden, he becomes disowned.
But that's what I mean when I say celebrate. So I don't necessarily mean that the child is celebrating the father as a father. What I mean is, if there's a household where there is no man, there should be a place where that child should know a man that they can celebrate. And I'm not saying that they're the father. What I'm saying is, if that child doesn't understand, and this is just across the board, right? If the child doesn't understand that there is a space for men to be celebrated, then they will never understand it. And that's what I believe is society is making the man insignificant in the household. And I believe that Father's Day, the lack of putting influence on Father's Day, not taking nothing away from moms, right? Because moms are going to be celebrated regardless. Because there's like you said, there's a love that you can't take away. And it's more because we're nurturing, right? So that we take that on, it becomes a part of our life, right? And the man is the protector of that life. But that doesn't mean that your influence on this child is any less than what the woman has done. So I say this all the time. Yes, I have the womb, but without the seed, I still couldn't conceive.
Come on now, girl.
Yeah.
Come on now. Come on, Scooter.
Oh, goodness.
Come on, Scooter.
Scooter. I didn't know that. That's the pet name.
That's my nickname.
Oh yeah, got it going on now.
So I said that when I say find a man to celebrate, I literally mean if you take that first step, right? If there's no one there, that means that hasn't been anyone there. Take the first step to find someone that can be in that space.
Well, there's organizations that try to fill the 100, the 100 committed 100 men, the 100 black men, so forth, and certain sororities, fraternities that take on help some of the sisters that have children and so forth.
As well.
Yeah, so I think it's coming. It's getting better.
Yeah, yes, I agree.
It is improving.
Yes,
but I don't know. I'm still kind of that. I'm listening to the way you describe it, and maybe I'm missing it, but I just, there used to be the Boy Scouts, and that took on a space.
I agree.
So when we look at the different organizations, how they come about, sometimes there's more boys and not enough men to fill that gap that are not the fathers. So taking on that role, and myself, I have 3 sons, but I haven't directly taken on that role in adopting with that loving, nurturing to maybe a child that I know in the neighborhood.
Right.
But then again, there's a lot of children that I grew up in New York City, so the neighborhood was something that you always had people on the streets, but here, because it's already 108 degrees, you don't see anybody. You don't have that camaraderie where you could buy the ice cream, when you bought them a soda and talk with them and so forth. So they don't know you and you don't know them. But so there's a protectiveness to them.
But however, if I take the initiative as a woman to reach out, because I do know you, right? And I use my own son as an example. I am blessed to have my daddy, right? And to have my brothers and have the community at large. They really embrace my son, and I can go places and you got him. All right, I'm going,
cool. Sure.
But that's because I am in the community. But even with that, I know who to trust my son with. These young women out here know who to trust their sons with.
You think so?
Yes, I think so.
See, Dad, from a man's perspective, we know better.
I'm just watching your diatribe between you two. I'm just feeding off of that.
You can take my dad. My dad has many, 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 many godchildren.
Right.
Because some woman came to my daddy and said, Matthew, my son is lost. Can you help him? And my dad said, no. But then he went and got the child anyway.
He stepped up to the need.
And I know these men personally and what they've become because of having to be accountable to this man.
Love you, Fred.
But in the same token, I just think that there is a generation where we've just lost touch with the importance of masculinity.
Oh, and that's going in a whole different direction.
That's
apples and oranges on that one.
But let me park on something that these two really pulled out of me. Back to this technology thing that you guys are talking about. There are some of you out there that there's no way in heaven you will ever be as dynamic as Savoy, as outspoken as my daughter. But you have skill sets. And as my daughter said before Ramon came in, society makes you think you're a failure if you aren't blinging and riding with 22s, and you are making things happen. This technology is revolutionizing the world. And I would rather any day see a YouTube post of a man who did something for his family than some brother who saved a dying penguin out of the lost forest of Manpochuck. And you can change the world. You can change the world. But the world starts here. And you want to live forever? Put some core values in your own self first, and then work your way out. It's amazing. People are trying to live forever, and they're doing it all the wrong way. I'm going to live forever because of Scooter. And Scooter's going to live forever because she's got friends like Savoy. And we can make a difference. That young man, go ahead, Ramon. I see you twitching. I see he like you. I see y'all speakers twitch. That man that prayed with those people in that church a couple of days ago, then after prayer said he came just to kill black folks. I guarantee you that that when they finish, the media finishes digging into his life, there's going to be a lot of racial inequity, but I guarantee you there's a maladjusted father scenario I guarantee.
You don't have to go very far, because the father's the one that brought the gun for his 21st birthday just 3 weeks ago, I believe.
Wow.
That's how he got the gun, for his birthday present from his father.
I rest my case. So,
But I don't.
Go ahead.
I don't want to hit on it at all. So
Hit it, girl.
That's a father. See, we still talk about father-son relationship.
girl.
So we might have curved off, but it's still a relationship that was born and blooded in that kind of. So we need to see the mindset of the father. What inspired that young man to deviate from a path that America is not. Well, America was born on, but America changing and becoming a better place.
is America changing and becoming a playboy?
It is.
I believe we're in the middle of a race war. I absolutely believe.
No, race war would have already the shots, the fire, the guns would have been shooting soon as they found out who the perpetrator was. Caucasian, it would have started right then.
I believe we're on the brink of a race war. I think that there is a lot of undercurrent conversation going on that we're not bringing to the light. I believe that, especially what's going on in the Dominican Republic and Haiti.
That was an amazing segue.
I really believe that if we aren't conscious of a nation, say the word again, extraditing. If we're not conscious of a nation extraditing a whole race, and they're able to do it, then it's just going to show other nations that it's accessible to do. And I want to say this, and I said this before, immigration is an issue across the world, across the globe. Immigration is an issue. They have people floating in the middle of the waters in Italy that, immigration is an issue across the globe. And if we watch one nation, just one nation, because they've been doing it in Africa for years, right?
North Las Vegas, not North Las Vegas, North Korea.
Yes.
North Korea, you don't have that problem in North Korea, to my understanding. Nobody wants to go someplace where it's worse.
Yes, where it's worse. But what I am saying is, based on if you guys are watching, because I'm really watching the story, I'm a little concerned, but the whole thing with the Haitians in the Dominican Republic is being able to prove citizenship. And so they're talking about deporting these people because they're not making it accessible to prove citizenship, number one. And then number two, just because of citizenship. So how are they going to prove whether or not you are or aren't Dominican? So we're watching this happen, right? And I said that to say, because race is so open in the globe right now, that trickles into our households, and then it becomes the responsibility of the parents to teach, how important we are, and how important being a woman, being a man, being a father, and being just that first, right? And understanding those dynamics before we go out and say, don't like this race.
Well, let me park let me park on that with you, and let me throw this out here. This is not a feel good scenario either. I believe because of your generation, social media and everything all the way out there, and all of the things that you and Ramon are engaging in, I think we're at the cusp of an amazing period in time. Yes, I am entrenched in Bible eschatology. I'm fully aware of that, but all the little pieces in every chapter are not written out. Mm-hmm. And I believe that we are on the cusp. And that's why I keep telling all you armchair Facebook radio sneak listeners to the phone on KCP, you can't sit back and complain about the problem, and you actually can help with the solution.
Yes.
And all you dads who know what to do, all you moms who you stuck it out and you made it, you see all this global thing. And before it used to just be North Las Vegas, before it used to be Compton, but we can find out what's happening in the streets of Czechia right now.
Yeah.
You are in the middle of an amazing period of time where, regardless of where the ending chapter of the book is, you can really make a difference. And you got stuff in you. You got stuff in you. You can make a difference. Whether you think it's valid or not, that's not for you to decide. If you got unctions in you, deal with it positively. Make a statement. You can do that. Dads, specifically men, that's who I'm really dealing with right now. It doesn't matter if you don't think people are listening or not. That's not your charge. Your charge is to put it out there. I can't tell you how many times I said something at the house and I knew I wasn't going to get applause. Oh, well, I knew my wife was going to be pissed. Oh, well. And that's what manning up really means, the term manning up. It ain't walking around with your pants hanging down showing your crack, because crack kills. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's not what it's anyway. I didn't want to go off.
No, please, Daddy, because
Uncle. You're on a roll.
Please,
now wait a minute. You just talk about solutions, so you must continue with that dialogue that you were just. There's many things that hurt, that's painful, that still come to mind because you have a chance to compare it. Generationally, you've seen it, I've seen it in a different light than what is being seen today and accepted by the young girls, the young ladies that we have. And even though some of them should not even be called a lady, based off my growing up and my experience, right. But I give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe I can spark on them a positive quote.
You're right on point.
Well, being a lady is, again, it doesn't just come from a mother. It comes from also having fathers, having men, being able to understand that space, because
it's easy for you because you had a responsible father. Yeah. But if we had somebody in here that did not have a responsible father, they would be seeing it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And that's another heavy point. And even though, like my son who's in prison, bad mistake, bad decision. Those who
and it's not your fault. It was right. That wasn't his decision.
See, don't be reading my mind. It's my talk. Okay, I had the thought
because you first. Have 6 children, so you have.
But I carried that guilt.
Children turned out.
That guilt because I had divorced. I lost my first marriage, and I carried that guilt, and I overcompensated by trying to love on him in ways that really weren't beneficial on him.
Enabling him.
Absolutely. And when he would do things to my daughter, and I would turn my head and I wouldn't pay attention. And it would be interesting to have someone but my thought is, before I get lost, is that even though they're out of joint and out of pocket, they're still members of the human race. And even though you have to have common sense, don't hang out with a dog who's foaming at the mouth because he's foaming at the mouth. You still should at least speak a word, even if you don't think it's going to be received, because you just don't know. You don't know when that trigger is. You just don't know. And that's what my whole big speech was a little bit. You just don't know. You don't have to. If we all had that at this table here, we in the Tribune, we'd be up on the top floor of Trump Towers and we'd be doing it to the world. We'd buy out Telecom, all those other ones you're afraid to talk about that are really doing the Big Brother concept. So, but we can start. I don't care about the word.
Well, you notice it comes our society in America. We are capitalists.
Yes.
We have a system that's based off capitalism. So that means money has to circulate and money has to be begotten. So if we were to take away all the pain, the penal system, the parole officers, the attorneys, the prosecutors, the judges, you understand, where would America be? Tiptoeing through the tulips?
Yeah.
So you have to realize these things, it's by design, because we understand how the government.
Conspiracy theory.
I'm with him.
That is, that you can say what you want, but they are think tanks, and by design. Because I used to think just in not really in a parallel way, but thinking about it, I used to wonder, where did a dance come from? All of a sudden, you be in a nightclub and a new dance comes out, and everybody's doing it. And you're like, where did that come from?
Who's that?
Who started? Who did that? And then it was strong enough that other people danced and did it too. Was it like a pack of people that would go from one nightclub and put this out there? Then everybody said, "Oh, that's cool. Look at that little group. They doing it." Then they would go to that group, and then they go to another nightclub, and then you have something. So I think the same in that conspiracy theory manner. They don't really want to get rid of all of this.
Right.
Chaos costs.
Yes, I agree.
It's a very profitable business.
No doubt about
I
it.
agree.
No doubt about it.
Dragging me into this. Okay.
But I don't want to take away from, this is supposed to be the big Father's Day show, right?
But we are fathers that have sons that we wish and that we have prayed, and we thought that we had given them enough direction to which to carry themselves in a way that would not only make us proud, but society as well to be proud of them and to be proud of themselves, more or less. So yes, from a father's perspective and sharing with your dad, I hate to make the statement when I talk to people, they say, well, how are your sons? And I say 2 out of 3 is fine.
There you go. And I actually had in Ramon one of my little quips that I always carry with me, and you were talking about the females, and it said, be careful with words. It's no secret that females are very analytical about the things men say. Of course, we need to discipline our children, and at times we have to be harsh, but we need to be very careful with the words we choose at these moments. Mm-hmm. Our daughters will hold on to them forever.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad you said that, because as a daughter with a father, there's an experience that I want to share. So oftentimes we have conversations with young women about what a father's role is and what they should be playing in the house. And so I just want to I had a discussion with a friend of mine, and he has custody of his daughter, and we were talking about training bras, because his daughter is 9.
Coming at that age. And so one of the conversations I had with him was, he said, well, I'm going to just have my mom take her. And I said, I'm going to share something with you. I said, my dad has taken my sister's underwear shopping for as long as I can remember, on our birthday. Originally, the first time it started, my mom came with us, and, she did what moms do. And then I think it just kind of got overwhelming for my dad, so he started leaving my mom at home. But that's an experience that all of my sisters share with our father. Now, I want to say this: my dad didn't watch us try underwear on or anything to that effect, but every year on our birthday, he takes us shopping for underwear. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to be, and that's an experience that I enjoy. I look forward to. It's not an experience that I have with my father that's strange or weird. Mm-hmm. It's a loving and a bonding experience. My dad says, it's your birthday, you need new underwear. First of all, if y'all women out there know, underwear is expensive. Underwear, bras and panties and stockings, and it's expensive. And I think originally the
habit started, not the, what do you call
Tradition.
it? Tradition started because the church was asking us to wear nylons. So I think the tradition started because of that. But as we fast forward, being in church, you need slips, and there's so many different things that you need in order to be in ministry. My dad is an elder, and so now, and I brought that up to say, I think that the people have an idea of what women have an idea of what the role of a father would be, because some women don't have fathers in their lives. But truth is, in some instances, fatherhood is just different for each daughter, and fatherhood is different for each woman. And so when we were talking earlier a little bit about mentors and choosing mentors, I have men in my life whom I just completely adore. And, my pastor and Frank Hawkins, and, and they have different roles as mentors. Like Frank is my business mentor, and he cusses me out like anybody else,
You not ever hear me. I've been at
But as a father, that was a bad decision.
That's protective. See there, your dad is very protective.
He is very protective. And, but, I said that to say, when you're looking for a mentor, or you're looking for a father figure, or you have that in mind, because Ramon brought up, do we know what to look for? I think one of the things that we have to be conscious of is what we need. Know who you are and know what you need. If you have young boys in your house, I'm not saying that a woman can't bring up a young man.
Okay.
What I am saying is there are parts of manhood that you just don't understand because you're not a man. And it might be good to, kick me later, find a man.
Well, I think an analogy that I use, in the sense of when you say, I know a lot of so-called single parents that have brought up women that have brought up sons, but it's just like the anatomy of the body. There's a part that you can't put lotion on.
Right.
So you do need that other person to put that lotion on to make your body whole and soft. So when you're looking at that, that's what I think of in when a woman is bringing up a young man. They can't do it all alone, and they do need to have some community input. What's that? It takes a village to raise a child. So there is someone out there, but at the same time, you have to have the woman has to be susceptible to that.
Right. And that's what I mean. We all have to know. And I'll just say that we all have to know, because I know. So I have an 11-year-old, and he's going through puberty, and it's one of the most difficult times of my life.
I love it.
Because I really, really love my son, and he's turning into this thing, and I'm like, what is going on? But I called on the elders. I didn't take it on my own. I could have, like many women across the land, I got this. I could have done that, but I want my son to be a husband. I don't just want him to be a man. Mm-hmm. So I decided that, I had to make conscious decisions so that he would have what was necessary for him to be that. And what that meant was teaming him up with men. Mm-hmm. My son's fortunate to have a few fathers. He has, he has my dad, and then he has two dads of his own. And then my brothers, so I told them he's going through puberty. I don't want him to
have a chance to speak to somebody that can identify.
Yes. And I have to trust them, right? I didn't take it upon myself and say, my son's going through puberty, teach him this, and this. But when they're teaching him things and he brings it home, I'm checking it. I'm like, I don't know about that habit. Actually, I don't have that problem. But I'm saying that because I just want to kind of have the conversation about what choosing a mentor is. Dad, did we are way past our time.
Works for me. But you guys, anybody who has enough courage to put on this underground conspiracy theory conversation, okay? You need to support him. Las Vegas Tribune.
Rolando likes controversy. His whole newspaper is controversial.
No, it's not. I don't. I've never looked at it that way. He brings a different point of view.
It's
a little radical.
So you have to have a different point of view to get conversation, to get dialogue.
And what I do love about Las Vegas Tribune is, because it's not being operated by the media is at large, the conversation is real. So oftentimes it's just a real conversation. And if you're not reading it, you want to, get in a habit of reading
He
it.
ain't censored anything we've been talking about yet. I've seen him lean over and see if he's gonna cut it off.
Now, I've had a couple of shows where I have gone in, and he's just been like, and he over in the corner not giving me the.
I know your dad keeps speaking about the technology world that we're in, but that's the opportunity that has been blessed upon us, that we have the internet. So we don't have FCC governmental restrictions for what can and can't be said.
For now.
Right.
Not yet.
For now.
Well, like everything is a not yet.
For now.
But until that point, we will keep raising hell.
That's right.
That's right.
So you've been watching Life of a Daughter. Do you have any closing words, Dad? Because I see you have some stuff here.
No, I had a whole bunch. I like to cite sources, and Sigmund Freud, who I disagreed with a lot of his psychological profiles, because his dad. That's another story we won't get into, but his dad was one of our communist leaders, and he come off and spent. But he said, I cannot think of any need in childhood as strong as the need for a father's protection.
Okay.
I'm gonna let that marinate with all of y'all. So I'm still calling y'all out. If y'all bad and bold and you're doing those daily things, and Hollywood and the media, they glamorize all of that. But you know what? The people who pay taxes, who get up every morning, who go to work jobs they don't want, they don't like, the people they don't like, and they bring home the bacon every single day, and they stay on point, and they stay in track. You're the real heroes. You are the people I celebrate. Yes, we have those people, Entertainment Tonight and TMX and all of TMZ, whatever all that crap is. Well, it's just still too much information for me. But the real hero is the one you have to sit at home and watch them kids and pay for them kids and buy their clothes and take them to the physicals and take them to practice. You don't even like them. You don't like the coach. And those of you who deal with your family and your spouse and y'all ain't getting along and you stay in the course, you're the person I'm talking to specifically. You are the bomb. You are the man. You are the one. Go out and spread your knowledge. Make it happen. Because if I run across you and you ain't doing your due, I'm going to sick Ramon and Scooter on your behind. God bless you so very much.
Oh, very good. Wonderful words. Wonderful words. I know you looking at me like, Ramon, what do you want to say? I think that's always, that was hitting on all cylinders. He did a Jaguar on that 12 cylinder one. He was not even an 8, not even a straight 6. That was a 12, a Jaguar style. But I just, I will recall on days, celebratory days such as Father's Day, my relationship with my dad, and it was unique and interesting, and I'm sure one that I don't think anyone could have experienced, because I saw my father being the individual that he was and the things that he did, and he wasn't perfect,
right?
But it was pleasurable. He could make me laugh no matter what he did. So when I keep those thoughts in mind and have those memories as well as the bad memories, because those taught me things as well. It's not always the good life and the good things. So when you think about it, ladies that have your sons or daughters on Sunday or every day is a Father's Day. Every day is Mother's Day.
Yes.
That's how I see things.
Yes.
Not one specific day, because that's based off the capitalistic
I agree.
perspective.
I can't wait for that series, y'all, because I can't wait for that one.
I have issues with society, and this, this show is all about Life of a Daughter, and I talk from a daughter's perspective, as just being a woman, being a lady, and I'm embracing my own voice, because there are things that I don't normally, you won't see me out having conversations about because of the things that I do in the community. So this is my voice to hear from my heart. So here's my heart in close. This, I have many, many memories of my dad. I have anecdotes that go on and on and on. But the number one thing I can say is, as I mature, I understand the necessity of a father. not just I'm not just blessed and favored to have a father. I understand the necessity of it and how much my father has allowed me to be a woman and has helped me mature as a lady and has helped me get my voice and being able to be dependent on that masculinity, not having a husband, not having a man in my life, but having a daddy has really helped me become this woman because I know that that support is there. So I haven't had to bear the burden of being both roles. I have been able to embrace the masculinity and be just a woman, be Mother Nature, Mother Nation. So I appreciate that. And the reason why I harp on Father's Day so much is because at this age, I understand that more. I understand the importance of being Mother Nation, not just being a queen, but being mother to a nation, because the nation needs to be mothered. They need to be nurtured. They need to be loved, and they need to be cared for. And it makes it easier when the man is in the space to protect and support. And so that is my closing words. I wish every man a great and happy Father's Day. And I love you and I celebrate you. You've been watching The Life of a Daughter, and this is Aisha Goins. Rolando, this is your cue to turn us off.
Well, I thought you was going to go to the half hour.